Hey everybody, this is your host Ray Goots, and welcome to Goots' Wrestling Pod. And man, oh man, we are back I'm back in the land of extreme. This is the first time for these guys on the show. Kyle Lewis, how you doing, brother?
I'm good. What's going on, everybody?
I'm feeling good. Pratik, how you feeling? Huh? You ready to get extreme?
I'm ready to get extreme. Happy extreme. Happy October. Yeah, I'm excited, guys. Happy to be here.
So, guys, so here's the update on the podcast. 3 more months with the archives. I don't know what's going to happen when we get to January, but
Hmm.
we're going to at least be able to finish out 97. As it stands right now, it's business as usual. We're going to keep going down the road. And then as we get closer to the new year, we'll reevaluate what the mission statement of this podcast is. But right now, we're going to keep going down the road. And we got an exciting road. 97 ends with a bang. So, you guys excited for the rest of 97, Kyle?
Oh yeah, let's do it. Montreal and everything else in between. Starcade. Woo. Good
Well,
times.
yeah, there's a lot of drama. And Pratik, you're excited, huh?
Oh, I'm excited, baby. Yeah. No, this is we're getting into some good stuff coming up. Yeah.
We're getting some good stuff. So, let's not a lot of modern news. So we're gonna, things if things on the show remind us of modern news, we'll talk about it. But overall, let's talk about the show. Like, I gotta say that I like this show. I liked it more than Road Wild, but this felt very much like modern NXT. Whereas you have guys that WWE has either like given up on or they're getting ready and they're wrestling an ECW original, like a guy who's just stuck in ECW. And that seems like this feels more like a WWF show than like a third alternate company. Kyle, what do you think?
See, I thought it felt like a collision, but that's also a good example too, because some of these matches were just like there to be there. And I don't
Yeah,
have the hardcore TV, so I don't have all the info of how a lot of this led up. I remember some of it. I remember the Dudleys and the Gangsters, and I remember Rob Van Dam and Sabu being the Monday Night Crew and things like that. But this show just felt like, why is PG-13 here? And why is
yeah,
Al Snow here? Okay, cool. And the crowd also felt like they were trying to be an ECW crowd, but they also were either too drunk or just didn't give a shit until like the end. So it was a very weird show.
yeah. Pratik, what do you think?
Yeah, it definitely felt couple like I know there was some like lighting stuff that felt off. The crowd felt off. I'm surprised they didn't do like this invasion show or whatever you want to call it, cross promotional show in like the ECW arena or like a East Coast arena. They did it in Florida. I don't know if they've done a lot of stuff in Florida, but something felt off about the like Kyle said, maybe they're drunk or they're too hot. They're having sunstroke from outside that they can't. There were huge like lulls in some of the matches where it just felt like they went quiet. So yeah, there was something interesting about Florida that I don't know why they chose that for this
Well,
particular.
I think he was trying to like tour. I think he wanted to take risks, and like I think eventually his plan, Paul Heyman. Although sometimes I'll get into it, but
Yeah.
I think there were two plans going on with Paul Heyman. I think the plan he told people is we eventually want to be able to tour all over the country and all over the world. Like, we want to do what WWE and WCW do, so we got to take risks. We got to go into markets. Now they had run house shows in Florida before, or TV tapings or whatever. I don't even know what the
Oh,
hell.
okay.
But I also think, and the more I watch modern WWE, I think he was part of the creative process, and I think that Paul Heyman's main goal was the best interest of Vince McMahon and WWE, even way back here. There's little things that happen on this show that if you know the ending of WrestleMania 41, if you're in Vegas with you and Gary, with us and Gary, uh, I think Paul Heyman's way more in the pocket of Vince McMahon than he even lets on. I think Paul Heyman's an employee of WWE this entire time. That's my conspiracy theory. I think this was more about we need to get Al Snow over to be a main character on the show, and we need to promote Ground Zero. Then we need to get over Spike Dudley. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, they definitely had an alliance for a bit, and they still, I mean, it really helped them out. They were almost like a secret developmental, which is why
Mm-hmm.
people would come and go, and you've seen the results. Al Snow, Justin Credible, people like that. It. Yeah, it's just odd. Like it's good for Al Snow. Like Al Snow had a, and we'll get into it, had a good match, but like PG-13 was there. Yeah, the Ground Zero promos, Jerry Lawler's promo twice in the ring and
Yeah,
pre-tape,
well,
the same thing.
I don't want to jump ahead, but I
Yeah,
thought
sorry.
the most entertaining Jerry Lawler has been since I started this journey. Because sometimes, especially in '93 WWF, he's so jarring to show up because he's such a he feels to me like everything Vince McMahon was running away from when he went with Hogan and Piper, right? And he just seems so old fashioned and southern. But here it actually fucking works. We'll get into that. But Bertique, what did you enjoy Jerry Lawler on this show?
I was gonna say, yeah, like I felt that the Jerry Lawler promos were some of his best of this era. It was he was tapping into that heel persona that he perfected on commentary. Like you said, Ray, like yeah, he kind of stuck out in WWF, but here as this kind of old timey kind of Southern guy shitting on ECW people, like it worked. I like both promos. I mean I don't want to get into the match right now, but yeah, I thought for what Lawler was doing, it worked. And you kind of remember with One Night Stand later when they had JBL kind of do that, like they're kind of taking the Southern guy and shitting on the Northerners, which,
Yeah.
as we know, Vince has a weird North-South relationship with Southern wrestlers. So
Yeah.
you can see the puppet strings of what Vince is trying to do with these promos, these Lawler promos. He probably wrote those promos for Lawler himself. Like he's probably furiously writing them on like legal pad paper. Like here, say this, pal. Yeah, let's go.
Oh, Kyle, you excited?
Let's get into it.
All right. So the show starts with Joey Styles. He welcomes everyone to Hardcore Heaven. He runs down the card. He calls Jerry Lawler the crown prince of the WWE, but then Ravishing Rude comes out. And right away, we go right into a WWE storyline because Joey Styles mentions that Rick Rude is now the bodyguard for Shawn Michaels on WWE TV. So right away, this is connected to the major WWE storyline, which I was surprised that right away we're tying this in. And he apparently is out here to second Chris Candido, who is also an ex WWE guy. I know, like at this time he was just Skip. And Todd Gordon, before he gets fired for being the mole, Todd Gordon was sending information to WCW, and that was real. Although again, there's so much I think that was really going on here with ECW, but we'll get into it. Todd Gordon comes out and tells Rick Rude to leave because he works for the other company that they do not have any affiliation with, even though they're talking about the number one storyline in the company that leads to DX. And Rude and Todd yell at each other, and then he leaves. What did you? Joey Styles does say to Rick Rude, "You could kick my ass. I'm leaving." What did you guys think of this? Overall, I liked it, but I was like, wow, they're getting right into tying this in the WWE. Kyle, your thoughts?
Yeah, no, it definitely seemed like cross promotion, uh ending Rick Rude, kind of ending Rick Rude's story, but not really. But yeah, there was exactly what you said. It was like a cross promotion, kicking Rick Rude out, promoting Shawn Michaels without saying Shawn Michaels. Stuff that we're seeing now also felt a little NXT TNA-ish, which is going on right now in the current WWE. That the two of them working together, which it was cool to see. I didn't really have any problems with it, but you can definitely tell that they were working together, and like this we don't like WWE shit was not true at all.
Well, we're also going to promote Shawn Michaels' storyline going into ground.
Exactly.
Pratik.
Yeah, same thing. It definitely felt, it reminded me a little bit of like sort of this NXT TNA invasion, a little bit also of the Forbidden Door stuff with AEW and New Japan too. It's very similar, like where they're talking about other company storylines. So I'm curious how much of the live crowd they were just like oh fuck Rick Rude or whatever. So it was more just for the fans at home. I just thought it was interesting the way they did that, where like they had Rick Rude come out and then Candido come out, then they cut to the ECW kind of intro car, like crawl or whatever. So that part was a little interesting to me. But I mean, I get you want to start with a heel to get the crowd. I'm sure their thought was, oh, we bring Rude out, the crowd will get into it, and he has sort of the Florida connection too. I think people forget that. I believe he's from Florida originally, so Yeah,
Well, you kind of want to let the new fans know, like, hey, like we have real stars here, because I think if
right.
you just start, I'm not shitting on these guys, but you just start with Skip and Taz. If you're a casual who went with your friends to see the show, you're like, who the fuck are these guys? Well, you see
Yeah,
Rick, Rude, like, oh my god, the Ravishing One. This is a real.
yeah. So they had to do something to kind of start off. So I get that part, I suppose.
Yeah. So the first match, Taz versus Candido. Uh, so I think that ECW, Paul Heyman and Jerome called the Island of Misfit Toys. But what I also think is sometimes if you didn't work out in WWE, Vince would banish you to ECW. You didn't know you were being banished, but he would tell Paul Heyman, grab, and you'd be back in ECW as a test to see if there's something that they can salvage. Rather than you go to WCW and they turn you into, which wasn't gonna. By the way, if Chris Candido went to WCW in '97, he's not becoming a star. He'd be on Saturday Night. But anyway, rather than you go to WCW and I think sometimes Vince would banish you without you knowing to ECW and be like, let's see what we. And I think Candido's one of them. Like, what can we get out of this guy? Maybe he can come back and be a contender. Well, I'll tell you what. I know people like Chris Candido. I wasn't feeling this match. Taz does not feel like the Taz that we know and love. I don't think Taz becomes the Taz that was fucking money until 1998, and he's only that Taz for 2 years because WWF doesn't keep him like that. He seems a little nervous. I don't know. This match didn't do it for me. I was surprised. I don't think Taz should have gotten that much. I mean, Candido should have gotten that much offense, but also, like at the time, people saw him as a star. I guess I don't know. I didn't feel this match. The right guy won, but Taz didn't feel like Taz to me. Kyle, your thoughts?
No, I feel the same way. It felt like a more of a showcase for Chris Candido, which is good for him, I guess. But Taz, it felt longer than it was. I think someone said it was like 10 minutes, but it felt like 15. It was just
Mm,
kind of dragging a bit. And I think the Taz that that you're just like, all right, well, I'm ready to see him suplex people and choke them out. And Chris Candido's getting a lot of offense. Taz is like on the ground, and you're just like, well, get up. Like, it's not the Taz you want to see. So I think it was good for Candido, weird for Taz.
critique your thoughts on this.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Like I'm looking at the wiki times for it, bell to bell, 10:52. It definitely felt like a 15 minute. They could have easily shaved off a few more minutes. Yeah, and the crowd like dipped in the middle. They got really quiet, and then like Candido does like a Hurricane, and then they kind of pick it up again. I think yeah, it felt like a showcase for Candido. He was kind of playing the heel role well, chicken shit. There was a bit of a ground game, mat game that I found a little interesting, but again, it wasn't the Taz we know. It felt like it was a bit of a phone in. I don't know if this was the best way to start the show, but then again, the live crowd got the insane clown posse moment as the
Well, yeah,
kickoff. So maybe that would
yeah.
have been a better opener for the pay-per-view also. I don't know for sure. It would have been a good bookend moment to start with Sabu and Robin and then end it, as opposed to what they did which is they showed it on the pay-per-view but cut up into two parts, which I didn't really understand.
Well, I'm wondering because I don't have access to the pre-show. If they had a pre-show and if they showed this whole ICP angle unedited on the pre-show,
Interesting. Yeah.
and then they should show on the pay-per-view in case people didn't watch it. They, the recap. You
Yeah.
know,
It did feel like because like they would cut the certain things. It did feel like it was like the DVD version of the show that we were watching, and not
yeah,
like the live version. Like it was like a chopped up, edited version that they like later put on VHS or DVD.
yeah. So, but to this day, there's people who don't watch the pre-show, and now with WWE, if you don't have to, but
Yeah.
I think that Paul Heyman put that angle on the. I don't know, but I'm assuming that he put the angle on the pre-show so to entice you to order, and then he's like, I better recap it because there's some fans who don't watch the pre-show. They just they tune in at 8. But let's get to what happened in the pre-show. The Insane Clown Posse. This is the first time we're seeing them in a wrestling ring come out, cut a little promo, I guess. I don't know, promote their album that I guess people cared about. I don't know. And then you get the shit beat out of them by RVD and Sabu. What people don't know and what I didn't know until recently is that they had already taken lessons on how to bump. So they show it off. pretty good celebrity involvement. I consider these guys to be the first Bad Bunnies of the modern era. Kyle, your thoughts on this beatdown of the ICP?
Oh, hopefully they get to do the Super Bowl someday in 2027. But no, I thought it was good. I was concerned that was Rob Van Dam's only thing that's gonna happen on the pre-show, and I was like, that seems like a weird waste of RVD, which of course I was wrong. But it was good. It was good for Rob Van Dam and Sabu, who I forget that they were here. They've been so popular for so long, you forget that they were heels, and they were like actually heels, but they just ended up being beloved by fans. So it's a little jarring to see a heel Rob Van Dam after seeing him be a face for so long. So
Well,
that was it's cool to
it's
see.
funny because in WWF he was Mr. Rah Rah ECW. Like I wish ECW was still in business. And when he was in
Yeah, yeah,
ECW, he was Rah Rah. I wish I could leave here and go to WWF. So
yeah.
funny how
He's
like, they get to WWF, they don't acknowledge that. You know,
not even a little bit. And even when he was a heel in the WWF, WWE, he was just himself, and everyone just cheered him because he was Rob Van Dam.
exactly. Pratik, your thoughts?
Yeah, the same thing where it was that they were doing all these like heelish moves to the celebrity, quote unquote, in the celebrity angle, but the crowd, I don't think the crowd cared for ICP, so they were like, "Yeah, destroy him." I always love when the heels do something and the crowd's like, "Nope, we want to see that. That's fine." So yeah,
I didn't know about ICP until 1998. That's when like I think some senator got mad at them and
that's when
their career. Because I'm like, who the fuck is the Insane Clown Posse? What are you talking about? And then I went and bought their album, and this was like in the height of the Attitude Era. Then they showed up at SummerSlam.
yeah, I feel like 98, 99 is when I started seeing kids wear their shirts. But yeah, at this point they were still, it almost felt like they're in developmental too for their status too, because they came to WWF too with the oddities or whatever. So this almost maybe Vince was testing them here too for their, eventual, everybody felt like a test mode. That's fun.
Yeah, and we're gonna continue that theme. Bam Bam Bigelow versus Spike Dudley. So a little background on the weekly show. Spike Dudley gets a fluke win over Bam Bam. And obviously Bam Bam had a horrible, Bam Bam, I don't know how his 96 was in the rest of the world, but in 95, after Lawrence Taylor, Vince just gives up on Bam Bam and he's made to look like an idiot and a bitch. And then he's fired or quits. And now he's in ECW. And I got to tell you, I think this was the best move for him at the time. This was a great squash match. This has one of the most iconic spots in ECW history. Bam Bam Bigelow throwing Spike Dudley into the crowd, and I'm watching a GIF of it right now. The velocity of how Bam Bam throws Spike Dudley into the crowd is incredible. You wouldn't do it today because if you did it today, fucking Twitter would have a heart attack because he throws Spike Dudley into these people. Like I don't care if the whole front row dies. He throws them as hard as he can. And but it made Bam Bam look like a monster. You can see with the way Bam Bam is working this match that Paul Heyman already kind of had a Brock Lesnar in mind because Bam Bam Bigelow feels to me like an early Brock Lesnar in this match. It's a total squash, but this is squashed in the right way because Spike Dudley got a little bit of shine on the weekly show, and then he looks like he makes Bam Bam look like $1 million on the pay per view. I thought this was a great squash match, and I thought this was exactly what Bam Bam Bigelow needed after that disastrous 1995. Kyle, your thoughts?
I agree with you. The worst part about watching ACW on Peacock is some of the music changes. And while Spike Dudley had a good one, my
Oh,
God,
Bam
what
Bam
the
was
fuck was Bam Bam
awesome.
coming out to? I know they're matching by like BPM, but you couldn't find like a better Welcome to the Jungle than that. That was horrendous. But outside of that, it was cool. It's cool to see Bam Bam kind of get his mojo back. I wasn't sure if this was the first ever throw or it was like the second time we did it. I know he throws them, and that probably the first one. And I know there's one where the fans catch him and they mosh Spike Dudley around. I don't remember if there's a third one, but
Maybe,
it was
maybe the best one is after this, but I remember this was in the opening credits for
yes,
ECW.
this was in the opening
Yeah,
credits.
yeah.
So it was cool to see that. It was cool to get, especially what happens with Bam Bam later on in ECW. This is the best he's looked. Is the best he's going to look. And it was the best company for him for the '90s.
Mhm.
excluding Japan, because I'm sure
Right.
him and Vader fuck people up all the time.
Pratik, what are you thinking? What are you thinking?
It's that thing of, yeah, like Heyman knows how to work people's strengths. I think that's the thing. Like he was like, okay, we're gonna bring Bam 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 and let's use him as this kind of just towering Goliath. Give him Spike Dudley. If you also remember when Lesnar came in, his first dark matches, one of them was with Spike Dudley. So it's almost like, the Heyman fingerprints. You see them. You see history repeat itself constantly. It is interesting though, like the Spike Dudley spot, it's meant to make Bam Bam look strong, but also you can see like the crowd cheer for Spike though. It also is a star making moment for Spike too. I'm trying to remember. Spike was on Chris Van Vliet's show, and I think he talks about like, did he was it I'm trying to remember who came up with that. Was it Heyman or did Spike say he volunteered to take that spot? That's what I'm trying to remember in his
I don't watch the Van Vliets.
interview.
The thing about it is that like I think like if you book someone to lose the right way, what I mean by that is Spike Dudley is getting his ass kicked in this match, and somehow when the match is over, I have respect for Spike and Bam at the same time, and I think that there's a way to do it that they kind of sometimes forget how to do. I know Triple H wasn't good at it when Triple H had to beat the shit out of the Hurricane or Tajiri. He made sure that they or Paul London that they got nothing out of it, but there's a
The
way to beat the shit out of somebody and make the crowd believe in the person who got the shit beat out of them more. And they did that with Spike Dudley in this match. And somehow they always do it with Spike Dudley, which is, Spike Dudley kind of shits on himself. And I'm like, no, that's a rare talent that not a lot of people have, you know?
No, he's very likable, and people always got behind him. Like when he and Taz won the titles, it wasn't like Spike Dudley. It was like, yeah, Spike Dudley. With Triple H, I think it just depended on who he liked. Him and Taka had a good match. He liked Tajiri, so Tajiri at least got a little offense. Hurricane, not as much. Kendrick and London, years later, this is almost 20 years removed, and I still get like internet message board angry at the time that he just pedigreed the both of them for no fucking reason after they came in to help him. And oh my God, I'm getting angry talking about it now because it was so unnecessary. Why would you do that? You could have made a new tag team that desperately needed it, but you had to be cool guy and fucking pedigree the two of them for no. This is not what this is about. But it's just it gets me so angry. But you're absolutely right, and I think they did that talking about modern news this week with last week with Javon Evans and Sami Zayn. Javon Evans had a losing effort against Sami Zayn, but only looks better because he took Sami Zayn to the limit. And they should do that more in all companies.
Mm-hmm.
We were
I was
talking
gonna
about Lee
say
Moriarty last week. Sorry.
yeah, no.
If he had a better showcase against Adam Page, I
Maybe
mean, no
that.
one thought he was going to win. But I think the Lee Moriarty Vance Archer matches would have better results if they looked better to me.
This Hangman Page and Lee Moriarty match was so bad. I called up HBO to support Ice more.
Nope.
You want
No,
more
we're
ice
not.
ass because of
Nope.
that.
Take me out of this one. Don't put that in the clip. Take me out of that one.
I want Ice to. It'd be funny if Tony Khan like starts taking match sponsorships and Hangman Page versus Samoa Joe is sponsored by Ice and there's like a big Ice banner. That would be fucking hilarious. I mean, just sometimes I want things to happen to annoy
My
the
video
Twitter.
is off for this one. We are not putting my face on this.
Sometimes I want these things to happen to annoy the Twitter and Blue Sky users. And I would like put Hangman Page comes to the ring and then Ice banner just lowers, and it's just always on camera while he's fighting, and it's like a 15-minute match, and Jim Ross keeps going like, "This match is sponsored by us." This match. I just want to see the reaction. Anyway, sorry.
They would go nuts. They would not be happy.
See,
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, you see that you mentioned Javon Evans, like you saw that a little bit in NXT with like Wesley. Some of the smaller guys would kind of get thrown around. Like I do think, but I'm almost wondering if that's more of a Shawn Michaels like kind of cribbing from ECW Paul Heyman. And we also don't know how much Paul Heyman is helping. I know he works with NXT talent as well. He advises them or whatever. I don't want to use the word advise because he uses that in TV, but I know he helps out. You see the fingerprints of this in NXT with some of the smaller guys. Another example, an AEW example of this will be Darby Allin. That guy takes a lot of punishment, and then
Yes.
the fan turn. I mean, he that's the thing. Like Darby Allin's at this point now where he could lose everything, and fans are still on his side. Like he he's done so much. So you're seeing elements of that with Spike. I mean, we saw that with like, in '97, you also saw it with Mick Foley and Undertaker, where Mick Foley lost the Hell in a Cell, but people came out respecting him more. So there's a way to do it. You just don't see that as much in the modern era, and I'd like to see it more, but maybe it also needs to be more special. So I'm wondering who else they could. I don't really see anyone on the main roster in WWE that they could kind of do that with. I just feel like
Yeah.
there's so much 50-50 booking where it doesn't always work. So I don't know how do you institute it on the WWE main roster. That's
Well, I'll tell you, the first thing you institute, you put Triple H in institution, and then you.
He's going to the White House like every week now. Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Oh my God, Jesus!
I don't want to get into that either.
Let's go back to The World Made Sense, '97. So now we continue with the ICP angle. The Sandman comes to the rescue because he's like, I need that Juggalo money 20 years from now. And, RVD and Sabu beat the shit out of Sandman and they put him in an ambulance. So, Kyle, your thoughts of the Sandman's failed rescue attempt?
It was a good. Sandman was knocked the fuck out. They did a really good job beating him down. I didn't think he was coming back for the rest of the show. I was like, I guess this is how they're writing him off for the night. And clearly, I was wrong, but it was a good beatdown.
Pratik?
Yeah, good angle, good beatdown. And clearly, this is teasing. You're like, oh, he's probably not going to come back. But obviously, now watching it as an adult, I'm like, oh, he's probably going to come back. And then there's some more segments as we see that. But I don't want to get ahead of myself. But good beatdown, good angle. I get what they're trying to do. I'm like, oh, watching this now as a grown adult who understands angle, I'm like, oh, this must be building to a match between Sabu and Sandman down the road. So I see what they had to do. They have to get storylines across. I thought it was a good way, in a little bit different way, to get an angle across because you have the ICP there too. But yeah, and again, like I love watching like kind of those old crowd reactions to see like what people were into. And yeah, no matter where they were, even though this was a kind of a quieter crowd, they pop for Sandman. So it's always good to see that.
Definitely. So up next, we have a match that's being held under Monday Night Wrestling rules.
Which were not explained.
Here, regular rules. I don't know. I guess if somebody interferes, I guess there's disqualifications. That's the only thing because no DQs in ECW.
Right.
It's Rob Van Dam versus Al Snow, and again, this Joey Styles puts over Al Snow as like what a. So if you're watching WWF in '96, '97, Al Snow Leif Cassidy is portrayed as a complete loser, a complete idiot, and a complete failure. And Joey Styles puts this guy over like he's an ex-Chris Benoit when he comes to the ring. And that the WWF, I guess because WWF called him Leif Cassidy, suddenly he forgot how to wrestle. I don't know. That's kind of what Joey Styles is trying to say. But again, this goes to my thing where, they're trying to rehabilitate some people, and Al Snow is one of them. Here's the problem with this match, and this is going to be a problem with a lot of things, and I don't understand how we all just allowed this back in the day, where I don't even understand how Rob Van Dam got over with this. I'll tell you what fucking hurts this match and hurts the main event. That fucking whistle, man. I said it at Barely Legal, but why the fuck does this guy blow the whistle every 10 seconds during this match? He never stops. He never ever stops, and it takes away from this match. Isn't that good anyway? But it takes away from the match. It takes away from. I don't know how Rob Van Dam got over with this. I can't. Can you imagine? And I feel like a lot of AEW fans would defend this. If when Will Ospreay had a match, they just let the building alarm go the entire match, like the entire fucking 40-minute Kenny Omega matches he was having, and no, everyone's like, oh, it's great, dude. This fucking whistle, it's like unpleasant to watch. It's like unpleasant to. It's not good, and it goes till the end. And I never heard anyone like actually be like, "This is unwatchable now." But I find this to be unwatchable because of the fucking whistle. Kyle, your thoughts?
The whistle is very annoying, and I think at one point while watching, I was just like, "Oh my god, shut up!" like it just like got to my point. Yeah, and if this is heel heat, it's very annoying heel heat. Maybe people were just more tolerant back then, more patient. I don't know. It sucks now. I didn't like it back then. The match itself was fine. They do just throw the Monday Night rules out the window when they start using weapons, whatever. Al Snow, at least he had a Prodigy ripoff for his music, which that was way better than whatever Bam Bam had. but I guess good for Al Snow. But yeah, it was just okay. Random Al Snow story that I have. I went to the Hall of Fame in 2014 for the Ultimate Warrior. Before I knew everything that I know now. Big Warrior fan. My friends and I, we dressed up in the Warrior mask, but we had suits on. So we had the Warrior like fake mask that they sell and like suits. And I had to go to the bathroom. I didn't take my mask off. So I go to the bathroom, but I lock eyes without Snow before I'm walking. We're walking the opposite ways. And I give him the head nod, and he gives me the most disgusted look I've ever seen someone give me because he sees me with the Warrior mask and the suit, and he's so mad at me, I guess, for wearing it. He doesn't even know me, but he's so angry. And I remember putting that on Twitter. I was like, this is when I knew Twitter was changing as like a joke. Like, hey, this is an interaction I had. And someone was like, it serves you right. He deserved to look at you that way for disrespecting the business, you piece of shit. He was like, all right,
How are
well.
you expecting business? You're putting money into the business.
It's Twitter. I was like, okay, the tides are changing. People aren't fun anymore. But that is my Al Snow story.
Bro, are you still on Twitter? You are on Twitter for your job, right?
Yeah, for my job and Twitter. Yeah, I mean, my Twitter, I put up the remember when the Simpsons like like leave, they have to like I forgot where they go. They go to like
Are you talking about the
the
movie
Hank
when they go to a
Scorpio
restaurant?
place. I forgot the
Oh.
name of the place, and they just put up like that, like an abandoned on front of their door. So that's my like wallpaper, and I just don't tweet anymore. I'm just like the last time I tweeted was I trying to get people to buy tickets for Dolph Ziggler, Nick Nemeth, and Ryan Nemeth, but I don't tweet anymore.
Every time I'll check it, and the algorithm just bombards me with racist shit. I'm just like, d- we all like everyone knows this is what it's become. I don't understand why no one confronts Elon and be like, you have the most racist, vile stuff on this site. Like, what's going on here? It's like a completely lost
Dude,
cause.
they're all bad. Like you can't go anywhere to talk about. Like Squared Circle Reddit is like the best place I've seen for wrestling, and that's not good.
No.
So like, it's not at all because
The bar is like underground.
extremely low. Threads is a nightmare to be on for anything. Wrestling Twitter, if you like WWE, they hate you. Blue Sky, I don't even get WWE stuff. It's all AEW all the time.
And they're like,
That checks out. I feel like AEW fans know about Blue Sky. I don't think WWE.
Yeah, they love themselves some Blue Sky.
bro, Blue Sky. Yesterday at Blue Sky, there was discussion that Tony Khan should go to Bad Bunny and put on and get him to do a show in Puerto Rico. And I'm like, Bad Bunny's with WWE. And they're like, no, he's not. And I'm like, you know, how many tickets he was. I'm like, dude, this is like saying like Tony Khan should call up Roman Reigns and have and say like, hey, can you main event All In? Like, why
Can
do
you
you
imagine?
want to work with a like you just you don't live in reality. You live in this fantasy world. Like Tony, you think Bad Bunny's gonna wrestle for AEW? Is that what you really think is gonna happen?
That is
You know,
actually one of my gripes. People don't live in a certain. That I think they like infantize a lot of wrestlers because I know Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne, or maybe Pete Dunne, are the new Americanos, the whatever red
Right,
and
the
blue.
underling America.
Yeah, whatever nonsense is going on with that now. And people are like, oh, they just could have, if they were in AEW. If they were in AEW, they're wasted. They signed the contracts.
Yeah.
They could have left. They didn't sign 20-year contracts.
No.
They could have left like 4 years ago, whenever their last contract was up. You think Tony Khan would have hired Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate? Of course he would have. They chose to re-sign with WWE. Gunther chose to re-sign with WWE.
Exactly.
AJ Styles chose to re-sign with WWE. These people don't. Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, they don't want to go to AEW. They like where they are. And I know it's hard for people to believe that. Some people like where they work, even if you don't like where they work, and that just is what it is.
No, you hit the nail on there. There's a lot of like I remember for a while people were like Kevin Owens should leave. Like I remember listening to Kevin Owens on Colt Cabana's podcast saying he never thought he would get to WWE. So to him, I think he's not going. These are the guys who they spent their time on the Indies. They've done their outlaw mud show days. They want to, whether it's money, family, security, schedule, whatever it is. I think they're happy where they are. I just want all these guys to be happy. That's my thing.
Yeah.
If there is some creative handcuffing and they're not happy, go where you need to go. But I feel like a Pete Dunne, yeah, he could go to AEW. Maybe he'd have a good initial run, maybe a couple collision main events, but I could very easily see some of them get lost in the shuffle. So it's not always Grass is not always greener on the other
The
side.
fact that you said collision main events is such a low ceiling. So
Yeah,
exactly.
well, because elevation is gone. So
These
or
poor guys.
no, the Rampage opener.
Yeah, he would have been the Rampage. He would have been the Rampage surprise on a Friday night.
The
Oh, we
biggest
forgot to mention
example,
Andrade is back with AEW now.
the big example is like they don't treat Edge like a big deal anymore, and the Edge and Christian reunion doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like a real reunion. It feels weird. Like they kind of bought. So it's like, okay, if you're not gonna treat Edge like a big deal, and like half the time now, like the AEW fans, they don't want him to sign Karrion Cross for whatever reason. And I'm like, no, they need a talker. Like, you don't need another guy who can like you have enough great. You need a guy who can talk on the mic, and that's Cross. And they don't see any value in anyone in people who talk on the mic. They don't see any value. Like, they're the worst. I think AEW fans are the worst wrestling fans in the history of wrestling.
I don't know about that, but yes, they have their moments.
There was a bit of I went to Forbidden Door when they had their Edge and Christian reunion. I think there was a little bit of they needed to sell a few more tickets for Forbidden Door, so they preemptively gave you the Edge and Christian tag team reunion, where I truly believe it would have been better served. But granted, I'm happy I got to see it. I wouldn't have gone all out. So on a personal level, I'm happy they did it at Forbidden Door. But I think they were handcuffed a little bit with lower ticket sales, and they need something to jumpstart the Forbidden Door sales. But granted, I think the original plan was you would have gotten to see them reunite at All Out in Toronto. What I am surprised about is why they didn't fight for the titles, but at the same time, Brodito, that was kind of taking off, so they made a change.
That's a good team. I like Brodito.
Yeah. But I think you could have done a three-way with Brodito, FTR, and Edge and Christian, giving them the title. It would have been a 1 month run for Brodito, but I think fans would have liked to see them win the titles. That would have made a little bit more of an impact on their return. So it's one of those things where I think just Tony there's too many cooks in the kitchen now, as opposed to just.
I'll tell you, Tony, this is the first. This is why the AEW fan base stinks.
Okay, we're going.
They have horrible ideas. They have no clue what's over or what's not over. And this is the first time in history where the fan base has a direct line to the owner slash booker slash promoter, because no other promoter slash booker has listened to people on Twitter. But the people he listens to on Twitter, it's a small group and it's getting smaller by the day. And what they like and what they think is good and what they think draws money does none of that. And when you, like me, when you find out he's writing this show for these idiots on Blue Sky, you stop watching. Because it's like, yeah, there's 10 people on Blue Sky that are ecstatic every week. Those are the people he's catering to. And that's why they're the worst fan base, because also they know ECW fans would admit when something stunk or when something was stupid. They won't admit when something's bad. And if you're with AEW, suddenly you don't have. I mean, if Don Callis' family was in WWE, these fucking people be going on and on about all the allegations against Don Callis. But because he's with AEW, he's a happy, sweet guy, and they also pretend when AEW is a liberal, where Tony Khan gave half his fucking fortune to Trump. But
You mean Shad Khan?
Yeah, whatever. That's still a family money. But it's like, and the Young Bucks like claim that Obama wasn't from this country. But they
Is that real? I didn't know.
They live in infiltrate wrestlers. They do that with Hangman Page all the time, where he's like this sweet little happy like cartoon guy, and not like a man. It's annoying, and it's a turn off for me, and that's why I don't watch. And you try to talk to people like you're a fucking 40-year-old man. You think Bad Bunny is gonna wrestle for AEW? Like can you live in reality? Can you live in reality? Like I'm not even shitting on AEW here. AEW could probably sell out Puerto Rico, but they're not gonna do it with Bad Bunny. It's just insane. It's like you belong in a mental home.
Oh, they definitely have their weird opinions. But I also want to say, because I don't want to be like we're just bashing AEW.
No,
some people are working way better in WWE. Like I don't think Mercedes Moné needs to come back and beat Sasha Banks anytime soon. No. Although Bailey could desperately use it, but she's doing great. Tony Storm's doing great. Some people do great other places, and they don't need to leave and go back to the other place or go to a different place. So everyone has their place to be,
Yeah,
unless you're Keith
everybody.
Lee. He should have left. Unfortunately, he got released, so he couldn't
Keith
leave.
Keith Lee is that's such a unique circumstance because there was multiple health issues. I'm sure the health issues also derailed him. I'm sure he would have had a bigger run in AEW if it weren't for some of the health stuff. So I don't
Yeah.
necessarily blame
Yeah, and then I don't know what was going on with that tag team. I don't know. We're going. We should
Limitless
get
or
back to
whatever. Yeah.
hardcore heaven,
I don't
but
know if it will lose anybody, especially Swerve.
Oh, can I say one quick thing? Last week on the show, I said, what are we gonna do with Hangman Page? Samoa Joe is a face, and then look what happened. They turned so I called that.
yeah, they don't have anyone for him to fight, so now we have to fight Samoa Joe.
They turned Samoa Joe heel. So maybe Tony Khan's listening to this podcast.
Maybe.
Well, Tony, you should tell Hangman Page he's going to turn heel and join Ice. That's mine.
Oh my God, no.
Because they're afraid of they're afraid of heat. That would, the funny thing is, like, as an old school fan, if Hangman Page came out on Wednesday and was like, I'm with Ice now, yeah, I would laugh and I would have a great time with it. Like, I would like die laughing and I would enjoy it. I would start watching. I think now, like the Twitter and Blue Sky fans would get like actually upset, like actually like they would have to go to therapy, and I don't, and it's so crazy to me that it's like that now. But like I think people would actually be like, "Oh, families are being torn apart, and how could they do this?" And I believed in you, Hangman Page, like but it's like you can't make jokes like this. But I don't know. It's like they would take it very seriously, and that's like kind of scary to me. And it's like, what are we doing to the people of this planet that like they wouldn't just laugh and like watch along? Well, I'm going to deport you, bandito. Like I think it'd be funny. I don't know. What do you about?
I mean, that's a JBL
no.
story for sure. But they couldn't. They didn't really handle it. I mean, 5 years ago when Retribution was supposed to be Antifa or whatever nonsense that was,
And then the Twitter went nuts on that. Yeah, they changed.
Yeah, people were very upset about it. I would say it's a good idea, but people were very, very upset. So it's definitely we can't do things like that anymore because people just can't separate it.
You can't kind of go like in like I always thought like a Me Too storyline where the woman that eventually gets revenge would be kind of fun, but I'm just like, oh, like they're not going to allow the storyline to get to the point where the woman kicks the guy's ass and kicks the female bodyguard's ass. You know what I'm saying? Like it eventually goes down to a match between two women and the man gets humiliated and chased away. But because they can't, it's almost like too real. But it's like, no, but like if you had a guy who like hurt you, harassed you, wouldn't you want to kick his ass? Like, like the whole thing with Stone Cold was like, oh, my boss treats me like shit, so I'm gonna beat the shit out of him. And it's like, I don't know, like this guy like made me feel less of a human being as a woman, and wouldn't it have been great if I got to fuck him up. But no, I think people are just like too, especially the fans that are most vocal, they're just too sensitive.
They kind of did that though with Jeff Jarrett in China. Like he was like treating women with
but that was before. Yeah, but back in '99, they could have had like Triple H could have banged China in the butt on live TV. No one's gonna say anything. I'm like, dude, we're talking about nowadays. Like '99, you could have had fucking like squash Stephanie McMahon every week in a 5-minute. You know what I'm saying? Like no one, like this is a whole new world. You know
I will
what I'm
say when MJF was fighting Mystico, I was expecting like a half deportation remark. Like how MJF gets those subtle little digs, and I was expecting something like that, but he didn't go for it. So we'll see. Maybe he was playing it safe, or maybe Tony has some. I don't know. I don't know how promos work in AEW. Like, are there? I know there's not like the Vince rules the way they used to do, but I'm sure there are some guidelines or parameters. Unless he just gives you a live mic. But I am curious if MJF is off the leash completely.
Let's get back to ECW. So Lance
where you can beat up women and do storylines like that in ECW.
You can beat up women, but like Hangman Page was justified to hit a woman. But like if they did a storyline where like, well, what I'm saying is if you did a storyline where like Don Callis is like trying to sleep with Willow and she goes no, and then like Kyle Fletcher like kicks her ass, and then Willow comes back to get revenge, people would be very uncomfortable with that. Like they would not like that. You get what I'm saying? Like,
no,
like if
not one bit.
Don Callis was like, I want to have sex with you, like, and Willow was like, stop harassing me, and then she got beat up, and then she had to go get revenge. People would be very, very uncomfortable with that. You get my point?
Yeah.
No, I got it. I was just making an ECW.
And it would also drum up the actual allegations again.
Yeah, he's the wrong guy to choose.
Yeah.
But...
Like And I mean, it could be also fucking the Young Bucks being like Willow fucker.
Dan Lambert. That's who they need to bring.
Oh no. Okay, let's stay in ECW.
Well, they should bring back Lance Wright in his helicopter. They should have him in the helicopter chase down the Young Bucks.
Jeez.
Right. Somehow they got a helicopter. I don't know how they got a helicopter, and when they put Lance Wright in it because that's who you want in a helicopter, and he's following the Sandman's ambulance. So they really went all out here. Now we got Jerry Lawler's pre-recorded comments. He does a great storyline where he finally says that him and Bret Hart have made amends so that he could beat the shit out of because he wants to beat the shit out of Tommy Dreamer. He told him that Taker said, hit him with the tombstone. He even said Stone Cold said hit him with a stunner. So even though these WWF guys all don't get along on the show, behind the scenes, they all agree on one thing. Tommy Dreamer's got to go. And I agree with that too. Tommy Dreamer stuck around way too long. But I thought this was a great Jerry Lawler promo. He repeats it later. Your thoughts on the helicopter and the Jerry Lawler promo?
I didn't like any of the helicopter segments. I was like, these suck. It was just kind of weird. And knowing ECW's financial issues, I was like, why did y'all spend money on this? Somebody didn't get food for that weekend, but we got a helicopter segment. But I think that's what I was trying to think if they're trying to parody something at the time, because OJ was already done. The OJ Bronco thing was done, so I don't know if they were trying to parody something with the helicopter view and the Sandman coming back. I just couldn't remember, but yeah, I didn't like that. Jerry Lawler's promos, both of them are good. It's funny that he's mentioning these things because I'm like, these didn't happen. I can't see Bret Hart like being like, I don't like you, but I really don't like Tommy Dreamer. But it was funny and it was awesome. So let's go. Good job, guys.
Critique.
Yeah, I don't know why we need the necessarily the helicopter. It could have just been a shot of, just the ambulance shot of like you see Sandman driving the ambulance. Like that's really all you need. I don't know if they were trying to just be clever and add something. Heyman just gets excited about something and they're like, yeah, let's do. I don't know if maybe he was watching too much Cops or something. Like I don't know what he was trying to do. Where he was like, we need a helicopter. It just felt out of place, unnecessary. You couldn't really even see it. So yeah, it could have been a simple. You could have gotten that point across way simpler and way cheaper. So yeah, I don't think we need the helicopter. Also, like Lance Wright says something about like, I wish I had an extra pair of tidy whities. Like I don't know what that was. It was very kind of garbled. But yeah, and then the Lawler, both Lawler programs are fine. I think they could have stuck with just the live audience one. I don't know if the pre-recorded one was needed necessarily. I don't know if that was shown on the pre-show maybe, and they're just kind of showing hey, let's just bring everything from the pre-show back, which I know WWF did with like Sunday Night Heat. They would show Sunday Night Heat stuff on the pay-per-view too if it was relevant. So yeah, I don't know if you needed both promos. They were both fine, but you could have just had the live audience one too.
Yeah. Up next, it's the Dudley Boys versus PG-13. Again, these are other guys that have been exiled. They had a really bad ending with WWF. Joel Gertner, they have Jenna Jameson with them, and she's not doing it for me. The women in wrestling nowadays are like way hotter than her. But she was the hottest porn star in the world, and having her was a big coup, I guess. So this match, when the Dudleys have to wrestle a regular tag match, they're not very good. And this was not very good. PG-13, kind of like, you hear about them, but to see them in action, not very good. This was not very good. That's all I can say. That's all I keep saying. Joel Gertner talked way too long, wasting time. I never thought Joel Gertner was that entertaining. It's just that's the person they let talk the longest. I thought this kind of stunk. Your thoughts, Kyle?
Not very good. Seems to be the theme, so we can keep it there. Cool, I guess, to see Jenna Jameson at the time. I was a little too young for it when it was live. I was also too young for some of Joel Gertner's references. So now, understanding everything he says, I'm like, ugh. I wish I was still a kid and didn't know what he was talking about. But yes, we'll just go with not very good because you're absolutely right.
Yes. Critique.
Yeah, same. It just felt like too long, even though it's only 10 minutes, 58 seconds. They could have easily shaved off a few more minutes off that match. And also PG-13 got way more offense than I thought they would. So it could have been a little more one-sided. Felt like maybe they were testing them, kind of the same way when they used like, Baron Corbin, they sent him down to NXT. It felt like, sort of like, hey, let's send these guys down. So yeah, it definitely felt like that. And the Jenna Jameson thing, I mean, at the time I remember being like, whoa, Jenna Jameson, but it's also like, I get it. It was kind of like a bait thing, like, oh, you get to see her on the pay-per-view, but I don't. In hindsight, now it doesn't really make much sense to me. So I'll stick with my 2 out of 5 for that match. 2 out of 5.
Yeah. Now we got Tommy Dreamer versus Jerry Lawler. Now I've got to say that this was my favorite match on the show. This was also probably my favorite Jerry Lawler pay-per-view match I've seen him do since I started this podcast and reviewing all the pay-per-views. I like this better than his match with Bret Hart. I like this better than his match with Kerry Von Erich, his match with the Warrior, his match with whoever he had, Roddy Piper. He hasn't had a good track record on pay-per-view up to this point. I thought this was a very good match. He starts off the match cutting a promo promoting Ground Zero, which is what we'll be reviewing next. Very funny. He seems very confident. He fits in ECW really well. He really does. He gets what his role is supposed to be, and he does it to perfection. Tommy Dreamer, I thought was pretty good. I'm usually not a fan of Tommy Dreamer. I thought he did a good job in this match. And I even like the interferences. It kind of feels like WWF is sending their troops. Rick Rude comes out, interferes. Jake the Snake comes out, interferes, but kind of fucks with both of them, which was cool. He got a huge pop, even though he looks like he hasn't left the buffet table since Royal Rumble 97. And then Sonny comes out, and that's when Beulah attacks. And when Jerry Lawler tries to go after Beulah, that's what costs the match. Tommy Dreamer wins. I thought this was really well done. I really liked this match. This is my favorite match of the night. I really, really enjoyed it. And this put this show over Road Wild. Kyle, your thoughts?
No, I think this was the match of the night. It was a bunch of shenanigans. I forgot who the surprises were. So when the lights went back on, I didn't remember who was going to come out. So it's cool to see Jake the Snake and see Jake the Snake not completely side with Lawler. He said something about God, which was like weird. I don't know what he said, but yeah, he definitely wasn't in the shape that we were used to seeing about a year ago. So he has his own story that we all know about. But seeing Sonny's arrival in ECW, no, it all just kind of worked. It worked for this match.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that was great. And Pratik, your thoughts?
Yeah, the run-ins worked. The pre-match promo worked. Lawler getting like choked out with the belt, so many good moments in the match. Didn't feel like a drag. The lighting cues were working by this point, so you could see it properly. Everything clicked with this match. This definitely for me also was the match of the night. Although the main event was good too, but I think I give 4 stars to this match over the 3.5 for the main event. But yeah, I enjoyed this match. And I think, Lawler, it's one of those things with Lawler. Everybody played their role well. It definitely felt like you saw shades of Heyman where he knew how to utilize everybody well, whether it was Vince helping with the script on this or Heyman. It did feel like everybody played their part well. The run-ins worked. The run-ins weren't too long. They didn't drag. I didn't get the God party. I don't know what that was about. But either way, I like that Jake didn't just side with one person. I kind of like I went back and read some of the other reviews. Some people didn't like that part, but I personally liked it that he didn't just play to one side.
Yeah, I give it 20 glutes up. All right. So now Sandman gets back to the arena and the cops attack him, and then that's it for the Sandman. I thought we were gonna have Sandman show up in the main event. Does he? He doesn't show up in the main event, right?
He does.
No, right?
He does.
Oh yes, he does. He does. Shit, I'm sorry. So that's good. But yeah, So what did you think of the cops attacking Sandman?
It was just so long. Everything was. I get it. It was supposed to be cool. It just didn't hit for me. This whole Sandman thing until he eventually gets to the ring, it doesn't hit for me.
Forgot he got into the ring. Yeah, I just feel because so much is Shane Douglas and Terry Funk. All right,
it was a very long match. The main event.
Get to the main event. It's Shane Douglas versus Sabu versus Terry Funk, as evident by the fact that I forgot Sandman showed up. This match didn't grab me. You know, Shane Douglas is a guy, great talker, talk people into the building. I am shocked. I'll say this, man, and I don't know what Shane Douglas's life is right now. He should be the Don. He should be the in the Don Callis role. This guy is a great talker. This guy would be a great addition to AEW. So would Joey Styles, for that matter. And I know what Joey
Oh,
Styles
we
said.
know why. Yeah.
Oh, no, hold on. In a world where we gotta fucking build statues of Charlie Kirk, I'm willing to forgive Joey Styles. Let him call some fucking Kyle Fletcher matches. That's my thing. The bar has been so lowered that I think Joey Styles should be in the Hall of Fame. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have just completely ruined this country.
I mean, yeah, within the past 9 years, that's such a low bar thing of what he said compared to everything else that's going on in and outside of wrestling. He he shouldn't be. I think because it was so fresh, he just got the brunt of it.
I think they
And
decided he wanted no part of it. I think he was like, fuck this.
or maybe he just wants to leave wrestling. I think he's fine doing whatever he's doing now. I don't know
But
what he does, but
I need him. I can't take Excalibur. I need Joey Styles back, right?
maybe NWA.
No. Well, he would. Anyway, yeah, this Shane Douglas, you know, they put him in these positions like he's like Shawn Michaels or Bret Hart or even like fucking. To me, like, you know, to me, when people ask who did Triple H rip off the most, I think it was Shane Douglas because basically, I think if Shane Douglas had his way, he would have had the life that Triple H had. I don't know if he would have fucked Stephanie. I mean, but I mean, the thing is, like, mediocre guy who we pretend is like the greatest, and the entire company centered around. I mean, that's Shane Douglas and Triple H. This is not that good. It's really long. I mean, Dory Funk Jr. interferes, a salmon interferes. We have the fucking whistle again. That's the other thing. The whistle goes up. I think that's another reason why I couldn't get into this match. The whistle again, and God, this is going to be something, but this is a real problem. This is a real problem when rewatching these shows. It's like this does not hold up because of the whistle. It just doesn't. And after the match, the Dudleys come out and Joel Gertner and I kind of feel like this was so the fans would have a feel good ending, but it kind of ruins Shane's title win, kind of ruins the end. It's just boring, overbooked. It's not a good way to end the show. And you know, if I was a newer fan and I bought this show, I don't know if I would buy another ECW show. I thought this was not a good way to end it. And the best part of the show was a WWF guy. So, Kyle, you know, Jerry Lawler. Kyle, your thoughts?
Yeah, I thought it was too long. I didn't realize that it was elimination until they finally pinned Sabu, and I was like, why didn't they just do this earlier? If this was the case, if it was gonna be like an
Mm-hmm.
elimination three-way dance. So the match definitely drags. And Shane Douglas, Triple H, people have talked about that for a while. That Triple H took his whole style and became the star that he is today. It definitely looks plausible theory, but yeah, it just this match just didn't click to me as well as these three probably could have clicked. There was so much stuff going on. Sandman comes out, that part was fine. The afterwards, I actually liked the triple threat and the Dudleys fighting for a little bit, and then of course New Jack comes out and everybody New Jacks it up. But New Jack and Cronus and Saturn doing I don't know if was his second elbow drop with the broken leg or the first time he did the elbow drop with the broken leg. And it's one of those things I didn't know as a kid. Is that a gimmick broken leg or was his leg actually broken and he was dropping elbows? Because that's just stupid. Because after a while he just disappears because he might have actually hurt himself wrestling with a broken fucking leg, which madness. But yeah, it was just a schmoz. You didn't like the whistle. I hate the New Jack music that they use to dub over.
Yeah.
I hate this
I,
song
I,
so much, and I've hated it from when they first heard it on the network, and I hate it as much today.
yeah, they make, you know, the problem is with all the edits, and they don't, the problem is like they make these shows not fun to watch. Like they take a lot out of it. And I think that's why, like, I think after the network started, a lot of new WCW fans showed up, a lot of younger people like got into WCW because you know, you can watch these shows unedited, uncensored. But I think like it didn't really ECW didn't have the same effect of ECW because these shows are kind of the music just so bad they make the show worth a watch. You know?
Yeah, no, it seemed like there's a good YouTube video, and I haven't seen it in a long time, where they talk about making the music specifically for ECW, for the network. So everything you see in a New Jack match, they pretty much have to dub over the crowd, the sound effects, all of it. So you're just watching
So
an
it's a lot,
inauthentic match, and you can tell because he's hitting people with stuff, and it's just like brink, and you're like this. I mean, credit to them, the people, the editors. I got nothing against the editors. You guys did a great job. But knowing what I've seen, natural born killers and the violence, it just takes me out of it 100%.
Yeah.
It's also in the video game because they put New Jack in the game, and if you do an Extreme Rules match, that shitty song plays the entire time.
No, it's in
the yeah. So get it for the computer and mod it so you can play natural born killers.
Nick Khan requested New Jack in the game. You would think that when Nick Khan, like, you would get like them to write hey, let's write a song like New Jack is still alive. We want to get him over. Like that's my thing. Like, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, if this guy was
pay for the fucking song. You had all the money in the world.
oh, it's like, come on, man. Yeah.
Everything is sponsored. You can pay for the New Jack, or just do like, aren't video game licenses for music different than like for actual like airings? So you could just done like the 45-second clip or whatever or something.
Like, don't they have like a Post Malone song? They have like, even if you put like a Post Malone like something, like give me a real song when he's in the ring, like because like bro, Nick Khan requested this. I wasn't asking for New Jack, so give me the full New Jack. You know?
Yeah, I thought you could have gotten the song, but I don't know. Maybe they were out of budget. They had to put Brock Lesnar back in, so
They got to pay off those.
exactly.
It is
Goldberg
funny.
that you can't get because you have to pay to play the island level 4 or whatever nonsense.
I'm not buying it. Sorry, I'm not buying this year. It is funny, by the way, that Nick Khan is a New Jack stand. Do you think if New Jack was still alive, they would have Nick Khan put him in the Hall of Fame?
Oh, absolutely. They would have had him come out and do something. They would all these amends because he had a long time standing beef with WWE and Vince. That would have been a race. He would have sent The Rock to his house. The Rock would have got him a new house. I don't know. They would have done something.
That's what they would have done. You know?
I didn't hear what you said.
I said New Jack they would have got him on Kill Tony, I bet.
Oh, well, they would have loved it. He did do stand up for a little bit, didn't he?
Yeah, and he was on Legion of Skanks, yeah. So
yeah, he did a little bit of stand up.
All right, so that's the show.
We didn't get Pratik's thoughts on the main event. I'm sorry.
How dare you? Your thoughts on the main event? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, echoing what you guys have said, it was way too long. I still enjoyed it. I gave it 3.5 out of 5. But the reason I give the edge to the Dreamer and Lawler match was just I like the run-ins a little bit better with that match, and I felt there were just too many run-ins. But I get for the home crowd reason why they had to bring out New Jack, and although it was fun to see New Jack briefly, but yeah, it was a lot longer than I expected. They could have easily shaved off multiple minutes off most of the matches here, so it was just a little too overbloated. But to bring it back to what we were talking about, I do give the edge to this over Road Wild for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
I would say in August, WWF first, ECW second.
ECW, yeah, that's right.
Yep.
All right, so let's go over what we have. So I know there's 2 ties. Let me see. Hold on. So WCW won. So give me 1 second. June, July. I gotta write this down. June, July, August, September, October, December, February, April. So WCW is at 10, WWF is at 4, and we have 2 ties. So there you go. So that's the score.
There we go.
So, and remember, guys, that if we make it to March of 2001, whatever company is ahead won the war. Even if it doesn't matter, WCW went out of business. They won the war if they had on pay-per-view points.
On pay-per-views, okay.
All right, so let's go over the next 4 weeks. Next week we have Ground Zero in your house with the main event of Shawn Michaels versus Undertaker. Then the week after that we have Fall Brawl with the main event of the NWO Wolfpack versus the Four Horsemen at War Games. In 3 weeks, one night only with the main event of Shawn Michaels versus British Bulldog. And then in 4 weeks, the big one where Brian Pillman gets future endeavored by God is Bad
God. All right.
Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels in the first Hell in a Cell. What are you guys looking forward to, Kyle?
Fall Brawl, maybe. Actually, one night only because I don't watch the European pay-per-views. I've seen that match. I don't like that match, the main event, but the rest of the show, I'm curious how it goes.
Critique?
From a curiosity factor, I've never seen Fall Brawl properly, so I want to watch that. And then, yeah, the UK stuff. There's always stuff about the UK pay-per-views where like how the fans react to certain things. I do know with some of like the other like the more later UK pay-per-views, there's always like an air horn going off, so it's another Alfonso whistle that keeps showing up in some of those pay-per-views. So
Some of those Coliseum tapes that they do, there's
yeah,
someone going, "Dun, dun, 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 dun,
they're
dun,
every
dun,
few
dun." I'm like,
seconds.
oh my
So
God.
maybe I'm just numb to that. That's why the whistle bothered me. But those air horns are worse than the Alfonso whistle. I'll give you
Yeah, I
So
find
bad.
Alfonso worse.
that.
Yeah, man, I'm excited for Bad Blood. I mean, that's where we're getting to the era, by the way, where there's so much to talk about. I love when wrestling has a lot of drama, and that is backstage, and you can feel the drama because you know what? Also, like things are changing in front of the camera with the addition of Kane and things are changing and the rise of Austin and things are changing behind the scenes with Brett getting screwed over. So I feel like Bad Blood is where we really ramp up the transition to
Yeah.
the Attitude Era. So I'm really looking forward to that show. So it's going to be a fun, like I said, it's going to be a fun rest of the year. We have 3 months left in 2025. You can believe it. And then I don't know. I have to see. Right now because the last show we're covering is Royal Rumble '98, and then
Oh,
if the
that'll hit us when we get to the end of the year. That's a good one.
but that's the final Friday of 2025 is Royal Rumble '98 or Sold Out. I forget. I think it's Royal Rumble '98. I think Sold Out happened before, but it's gonna be a fun ride to get to the Royal Rumble. So yeah, guys, are you pumped? Kyle, you pumped?
Of course.
Yeah, and Pratik, you pumped?
Oh yeah, no, I'm excited to kind of ride out the rest of the year with you guys. No, this should be fun, and then we'll have to figure out what we're gonna need some of that TKO or
We have to
VPN or
buy
something.
Amazon
Yeah,
Prime to
Let's
watch.
see. There's still time for them to sell the archive to somebody. I've not put it past them that they put the archives on Paramount Plus or Amazon Prime or HBO Max. I
I
haven't
would
put it
love that. Oh my god, if it was on Prime or HBO Max,
in something. I still feel like there's another shoe to drop the archives, and I think they're just.
Paramount Plus might be the winner since UFC is already in bed with them, and I think that boxing's in bed with them, the TKO boxing or whatever it is.
I would pay for ESPN Plus if the entire archives went there. I would. I would pay the 30 a month. It's worth it for me. I love the
they haven't
archives.
announced officially if it's going there, right? That's the key, right? That's the
I
mystery.
think WrestlePalooza. So if you want to watch that on a loop, uh,
Yeah.
you go get ESPN Plus. I think so. I don't know. All right, guys. Kyle, what do you want to plug? Bear in mind, it's probably going to come out tomorrow morning because I got to run to Universal Studios. So I don't know if I'm going to
Uh,
have time. So
all right, Saturday, today, then October 4th, 6 p.m. at the Stand, Characters Like Comedy, and then October 9th, New York Comic Con, Community Center 1E. We're doing our superpowered comedy show. And October 11th, again, back at the Stand, 6 p.m., Characters Like Comedy, hosted and produced by Chris Black. I will be there, just doing a spot, but please come hang out with us.
Critique, we got the plug.
If you're in Chicago, I'll be doing Chicago Comedy Hour at Second City October 9th. That's at 8 p.m. At Pratik Comedy. I do get some free tickets. So if you are really interested in coming, just message me. I'll get you in. And then on November 1st, headlining in Beaver County, Pennsylvania. That's a fun show. And that also, there is a ticket link on my link tree, which is at Pratik Comedy. But if you message me, if you listen to this podcast and you want to message me, I'll get you in for free. And then this weekend, I'm at my high school reunion. Go Raiders! Yeah, class of 2005. So yeah, it should be a fun time.
Awesome. I've turned my back on everyone from high school. Now I live in California, so I'll never see them again. Guys, you please subscribe to the podcast. Please follow the podcast. Follow me, Ray Goots Comedy on TikTok. Also follow me on Instagram, Ray Goots. And yeah, the more followers I have on TikTok, the better like we're all gonna do. So please, if you see these clips on TikTok and you like them, give us a follow. Uh, it helps me with the algorithm. You know, we're all slaves to the computer, and I need a better slave. So, all right, guys, that's the show. We'll see you next week where we leave developmental and we go back to the real show. It's Jerry Lawler's favorite pay-per-view, Ground Zero. We will see you then. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hey, thank you, guys. I appreciate all you've done.